Louis, I wanted to talk to you a moment about what has happened. All this is tragic, but I wanted to thank you for doing what you could.
I wasn't able to save him.
You couldn't, Louis. You mustn't blame yourself. It is not your fault.
Of course, but I thought I could help him.
I guess it was too late. Don't torture yourself. Look what you've done. I admire what you did. Who else among all these great luminaries of the modern world even raised a finger? No one. You were the only one who tried to do anything. What a waste.
What are your plans now?
What do you mean?
For the conference? After the disappearances of both Elizabeth Adams and my mother, and now the death of Mr. Perlu, I should imagine that your guests are all packing their bags.
This might come as a bit of a shock to you, perhaps because it was so difficult to bring all these figures together. But I am convinced that none of them is preparing to leave.
Are you serious?
They are all very experienced politicians, and though they are, of course, affected by the situation, they know full well that such an opportunity will not come again for a long, long time, if ever. They each represent their nation, and know full well that what is at stake here is far greater than the death of poor Monsieur Peru. You'll see. I am confident that they will all be ready to resume the conference.
If you say so. Allow me to take my leave, please.
Of course. You ought to get some rest. Oh, Louis, one more thing, please. I wanted to thank you for your support during the conference. You've made the right choice, and it gives me tremendous satisfaction to have you with me on this project.
What is at stake is worth it, my lord. Now, I won't hide from you the fact that I have no idea by what miracle we could ever get a unanimous vote.
Trust me, Louis. We still have a few more cards to play. You'll see. Anything can happen in politics.
I'll see you later, my lord.
I already mentioned it yesterday. Either to you or to someone else. Impossible to tell with you people.
Yes, sir.
Your yes is not sufficient. Tell the others, for crying out loud. Remember to close my window once you've done my room. This isn't Corsica, you know. I'm freezing.
Of course, sir. I'll see to it straight away.
Good. Proceed.
Yes, sir.
Monsieur Bonaparte.
Don't feel guilty over Monsieur Peru. You did your best. We just lost the vote for the next conference, and we already had fewer votes than Holm. I must absolutely find a solution.
Yes indeed. But I believe if Lord Mortimer is still confident, it's because he still has a few cards up his sleeve.
I hope so. I sincerely hope so. Unfortunately, that vote of Godot you acquired is probably not going to suffice.
Well, it's still more than what you've done, isn't it?
I see you have a short fuse, monsieur. As someone who just started a war with Spain, if I were you, I wouldn't get on my high horse so quickly. In short, we haven't a minute to lose. I'll leave you now.
Just a minute. What did Duchess Hillsborough propose last night?
Oh, nothing worth worrying about. The pretty little pudding eater found no better tactic than to threaten me. She would have been better off sliding into my bed. At least we wouldn't have wasted part of the night talking for nothing.
Threatened you, you say?
That's what I said. I think I'm going to have to be careful of English troops crisscrossing the Mediterranean for a while. The witch would let loose the wrath of the English crown on my august person. But if she thinks that would scare a Bonaparte, she is mistaken. Now, Louis, time is running short, and as I said, I'm in a hurry. I have to go now. I will see you later.
I am sorry, sir, but you are unable to access Monsieur Peru's room while we gather his personal effects.
Next time, I'll listen to my mother. Not a day has gone by without something happening to me. What now?
Louis, open up, please.
Coming, Mr. President, I'm coming!
Louis. Ah, there you are at last.
Yes,
I just saw your mother. She was accompanied by Emily, and they both went into the Duchess's room. I tried to join them, but I was refused entry. Louis, this does not bode well.
Oh, shit. Emily might want to avenge her sister. I must act quickly. You're right, Mr. President. Thank you. Monseigneur, His Eminence Cardinal Piaggi. President George Washington. Duchess Emily Hillsborough. I do believe that's Emily's voice. I can't understand what she's saying. I can't open it. It must be blocked on the other side. I'll have to find another way in, quick. Emily! Emily, are you there? Answer me! Emily! I have to get inside Emily's room through the... Shit!
Locked.
How could you do that to me?
It's as if there are several
You're a fine
people
one to
inside.
talk. Once again, you're the one who's the victim in all this. What are you on about now? I should never have told
What
you
on
happened
earth
to
is... You... Mother?
How dare you do this to me? You can talk. After everything I've done for you. You are joking, I hope, right? I gave you my life. That's enough, Emma. Now that Louis is here, you will leave Sarah alone. Cease your revenge immediately. What? If you think you're going to... Louis, help me, I beg you. I can no longer reason with her. I am Emily. Quit playing games. What? Honestly, don't be ridiculous. No. I am Emily. You are wasting your time. Louis knows very well how to tell us apart. After everything we've been through together.
Yes, well...
Don't you dare bring him into this. This is between you and me. I ask for nothing more, so stop taking it out on Sarah. You prissy little bitch! How dare you? Now that I've told you everything, you want to take my place, do you? You are joking, I hope. I'm the one who told you everything that's been going on while you were away. Go on then. That's what you want, isn't it? You want to kill me. Go on then, shoot! After all the trouble I've gone through to find you. Go on. What are you waiting for? Here, Louis, take this.
Wait, what's going...
An entire life for this. Go on, shoot! Sorry, Louis, I can't shoot her. She's my sister. That's enough, Emma. Louis, out of the way. She's dangerous. Don't trust her. What are you trying to do? Louis, out of the way. I am not Emma. Come on, Louis, tell her who the real Emily is.
Wait,
That's right, Louis. I'm fed up with this little game. Tell him who the real Emily is.
Why do these things always happen to me?
Well, Louis, come on, you know how to tell us apart, right?
Yes, but... I'd like to ask you a few questions to make sure there's no doubt.
Rational and open, Louis. Let's see. How can I tell them apart? Wait, I've got an idea.
On the night of our arrival... Who was with us on the wharf?
Cardinal Piaggi. He was with us from when we started traveling by ship. We arrived on the same boat. I already told her, Louis. Another question, then. I'm the one who told you.
Right. Let's find something else. Ah, yes. Let's speak about my arrival at the manor.
On the night of our arrival, we were warming ourselves in front of the fire. Mortimer welcomed us in a certain way. What happened exactly?
Well played, Louis. Unfortunately, I'm not the one you should have asked that question to. Mortimer did not welcome us. It was Sir Gregory who welcomed us that night. Mortimer didn't show up until 2 days later. I know that as well.
Very well.
Let's try something else.
On the first night, we went up to bed, but I wasn't tired. I went for a little stroll. Do you remember if we saw each other that night or not?
No, not after going up to bed. That doesn't prove a thing. I was the one who told you that. Don't think you're going to get away with this deception so easily. I can assure you, you're going to regret pretending to be me once Louis has exposed you.
Right. I don't think I'll get very far like this. I'll have to find something better.
Oh, I don't think I'll even wait until he's finished.
Take it easy now.
Are you mad, Louis?
Lower your arm.
I better act quickly if I don't want things to get out of hand.
Come on, she's putting one over on you. Look at yourself for crying out loud. You were prepared to shoot me down.
In the secret room behind the study. Talk to them about what you've been doing. Maybe they haven't spoken about it between each other yet.
On the night of the disappearance of Elizabeth Adams.
What about it? What do you want to know about that night?
We found ourselves in Mortimer's secret gallery. What did we find in that room?
A load of old junk that Mortimer had collected. A so-called Pandora's box in the form of an urn. An old sheepskin that he must take for the Golden Fleece. The Bible of Judas. Property deeds as old as the hills. And a broken old sword. You are wasting your time, Louis. She already knows all that. Of course I do. I was there. That's enough! I've had enough of this charade. Louis, there's only one way to tell us apart. There's just one thing I didn't tell her about in detail. Too bad for you, Emma. I didn't want it to come to this, but you leave me no choice. Ask her about you and I. You just lost, Emma. I indeed didn't tell you everything about it. Come, Louis, speak about our intimacy.
Very well, let's talk about us. When you came to my room last night, what did we talk about?
I beg your pardon, but I didn't go into your room last night. There you are. The mask is off. What do you mean? Sorry, Emma. I didn't tell you everything.
She's right.
You little bitch. She is manipulating you, Louis.
That's enough, both of you. Now I know who the real Emily is.
You are Emily Hillsborough.
I knew you wouldn't get it wrong, Louis. No! You little bitch! Watch out, Louis! No!
Hell, what have I done?
See what you've done. See.
Louis? What on earth is going...
Mother!
Go. You must leave. Everyone's going to arrive.
Louis, what's going on?
Duchess? Is everything all right?
Go! Go, Mother! No one must find you here.
Go.
Come, Louis. There's nothing more you can do.
But I...
Leave us.
Emily, what's going on?
Mother, go to the crypt. I'll meet you there.
I'll be waiting for you.
Emily.
Madam, I'm coming in.
It was bound to end like this, Louis. Let me stay with her, please. Go, I'll cover you.
God! They're all here. They must have heard the gunshot.
Where is Lord Mortimer?
Can anyone hear anything through the door?
Did you hear that? I was not dreaming, was I?
Certainly not, Duke Godoy.
What's going on?
Someone had the bang coming from the Duchess's room, and she isn't answering.
Gentlemen, go back to your rooms. Go back to your rooms. I shall find out from Lord Mortimer what this is all about. Thank you.
I've retrieved everything.
Louis! At last, there you are.
Mother, wait,
Come, we have to be quick.
No, wait, Mother,
Time is running out, Louis. First, we must...
No! That's enough. I won't go a step further unless you explain to me what is going on here. I'm begging you. Talk to me.
You must trust me, my son. You are not ready yet.
You are the one who should trust me. Tell me what's happening.
You would never believe me.
I came all the way here for you. Now I've found you. I'm ready, Mother.
If only... Louis, I have always taught you to keep your mind open and logical. I know you are going to find it hard to believe, but what I am going to reveal to you is entirely true. Many years ago, I found out that demons really do live among us.
I beg your pardon?
And that they can influence our thoughts.
Mother, listen to yourself. I know you're exhausted, but for crying out loud, listen to what you're saying. Demons? What next? An ancient monster with a head like an octopus? What do your demons look like? Have they got horns and a pointed tail?
No, these are not creatures with billy goat's legs. Forget your Christian folklore. Imagine them more as parasitic spirits. They possess their hosts and direct them from inside.
Parasitic spirits?
Yes, they are capable of going from one body to another as they see fit. And 2 of them are present on this island.
Right. So let me guess. Lord Mortimer and Sir Gregory, right?
You felt it too?
No, even if Home does look the part. But I don't know who else could do it, given that we're on their territory.
Many years ago, well before you were born, I crossed paths with one of them. Since then, I've spent my life trying to find it again. When we recovered the Alizif, I was persuaded that von Burchard was working for this demon in one way or another. But I thought he would hand the book to a middleman during this conference. That's where I made an error that could well turn out to be fatal. The one who Burchard was meant to give the book to was none other than the demon in person, Mortimer. Not to mention that Home had sent Volner to get it for him.
Home and Mortimer are demons?
They both seem to disagree about many things, but I'll admit I never knew exactly why. There are many of them, Louis. Not just those 2.
Mother, have you any proof to support any of this?
Of course, but you do too. You had everything laid out in front of you. Didn't you notice anything?
I must admit, I found it difficult to understand how and why Mortimer didn't have a place in history.
On the continent, Mortimer and Home are mere dandies who organize society balls. History forgets them with a disconcerting facility. No one speaks about them, and yet they whisper in the ears of kings and presidents.
You mean the conference?
How can you explain that someone manages to bring together so many important figures without anyone knowing?
And without any security or personnel. I went beyond the nightmare, Mother.
You understood the Masonic date.
1191.
Of course! It was during that siege that the demon took possession of Sir Mortimer. They spent a whole night in conversation until the early hours of the morning. Mortimer had passed the test. He had charmed the demon, and so it chose him to be its host for centuries to come. But tell me, did you find his secret study?
I did indeed.
Did you see his maps of the world?
He has contacts the world over.
Yes, I've been developing the Golden Order across the world for many years, and I've never seen anyone with such influence. It's simply inhuman.
Well, those property deeds across the world, all signed by the same hand and over several centuries.
I am proud of you, Louis.
I found your notes written in lemon juice.
Where all eyes size you up. At one stage, I was so afraid of losing my mind that I noted everything down. Congratulations, Louis. Wait, please tell me you didn't open Pandora's box.
The urn? No, I didn't. Why?
Good. We'll deal with it later. Louis, I am proud of you. You came all this way. You found me. You have surpassed me.
You taught me everything I know. Right. How did it all begin?
I saw him!
What do you mean you saw him?
I was 20 years old. I was young and carefree. I traveled the world in search of adventure. In the Persian Gulf, we came across an ancient grimoire that became unlocked. Composed of 7 parts, each one was a book in itself, set in a sort of metal armor that structured the whole thing. When all the volumes were brought together, they formed a single book. On my return to Paris, I set to studying these pages. I spent all my days and nights studying them.
Oh, I can imagine you doing that.
But the writing was in a language I had never seen before, developed well before Sumerian, in my opinion. So I got the idea to form a small occult circle composed of all the major names in the occult world to see if anyone else could crack it.
And you found no one.
And I found someone, Louis. I found him. Or rather, he found me. He was young, charismatic, he was flamboyant.
You mean Mortimer?
He was a veritable mine of knowledge. I showed him the book, and he was able to decipher a few passages. We spent several months together studying the pages. He helped me understand certain passages until I realized that he only translated a few parts for me. But I had aroused his interest. It was too late.
How so?
I mean to say he manipulated me. He used me, and in the end, he stole the book with all its secrets.
Did he ever go to your place?
Not once. At least I don't think so. But before disappearing, he proposed a pact between us. He proposed that I follow him and let him teach me, allow him to bring me up.
And you accepted?
Please don't be stupid. You don't make deals with the devil. After that, I spent my whole life looking for him. 3 years later, in Berlin, I just missed him. In London, I lost 6 members of the order in a chase. In 1741, in Tunisia, I found a sect of fanatics who had crossed paths with him once. 1741, in Poland. 1749, in India.
8 years ago in Venice.
We agreed never to speak about what happened in Venice, Louis.
You agreed, and that was before you spoke to me about demons. Wait, the baby we delivered, you and me, that night in Venice, did he have anything to do with Lord Mortimer?
The child was his son.
We stole his son? Are you insane? I always thought we took him to save him.
That was the case. It was precisely to save him from his father.
Need I remind you the mother died during childbirth? What became of the child?
Later. For the moment, that is not the key issue here. Once we found the Al-Azif in Paris, I followed von Borchart's trail here. I didn't think it would lead me straight to the demon. It was careless of me. He toyed with me for a few days, until I caught on, until I saw him as he was. But he had no intention of letting me leave. We are all his pawns, Louis, and if we don't want to spend the rest of our lives turning round in circles here, we must absolutely get off this island. All right, can we move on?
Wait a minute, one last thing. I want to know what happened with Elizabeth Adams.
Louis, we haven't time for those details.
I'm sorry, Mother, but I want to know.
She was one of the receptacles for these monsters. I met her parents when she was born. One of the demons got inside her. The demon used her to spy on her father, John Adams. He is one of the founding fathers and vice president of the United States, you know.
Mortimer possessed her?
No, I don't think it was Mortimer. Her father, John Adams, hired me to tend to her, but the evil in her was too deep. In spite of the various treatments I tried on her, I never succeeded in getting it out of her. It's not something I'm proud of, Louis, but I had to try everything.
What did you negotiate about the Al-Azif with Volner?
Absolutely nothing. I managed to pull the wool over his eyes until I found a way to flee.
I want to know what happened with Elizabeth Adams.
Louis, we haven't time for those details.
You're probably right. I want to know what happened between you and Emily's sister.
Great responsibility often brings difficult choices, Louis. That's all you need to know.
Mother, I won't take a step further if you don't answer me.
You dare blackmail me?
I'm listening.
All right, I used her. So there you are. Happy now? We had the Al-Azif, and I didn't think we would be able to escape with it. In order to ensure that the book did not fall into their hands, or that one of them couldn't read in us where we had hidden it, I asked Emily to...
It's Emma.
Yes, or rather for me, it was Emily. So I asked Emma to hide it without anyone seeing, and then I disposed of her. I am sorry for her, but she was part of the Golden Order, Louis. She knew the rules when she joined.
What was going on with the cannons in Tuscany?
It was nothing.
Since when does the Order finance wars?
The cannons for that Bonaparte fellow? Listen, once in the lion's den, I did whatever I could to appear legitimate. So yes, I pretended to be interested in Mortimer's project about a young military man who was seeking funding for a foundry in Tuscany. Between you and me, if buying China would have enabled me to escape, I would have signed without hesitation.
Samuel Ritter du Choix, you wanted to send me a letter about Godoy.
I wanted you to run a check on Duke Manuel. But frankly, it doesn't really matter anymore now. Godoy is just a pawn like the others. He is not the one I was looking for.
On the evening of my arrival, Cardinal Piaggi came looking for you. He was determined to give you a letter.
More of his lists. Louis, I think I know what's in that letter, and I beseech you to believe that it is the least of our worries. We can sort that out later.
Are you going to tell me what happened to your hand?
Better than that. I shall show you.
Good. I think that's about right. We shall speak about it once we get back to France.
Great actions for humanity have been decided by demons for centuries, Louis. They are playing with our destiny. We are their slaves. And it's time for it to stop. By the way, what was Mortimer's project at this conference?
He wants the United States to occupy all the North American territory. France should recover Louisiana and give it to the United States. In that case, the Americans would just have to push west to chase the Spanish from the continent once and for all.
And as Mortimer controls Washington, you may just as well say that it will put him at the head of a world superpower. We should do our utmost to put a stop to Mortimer's plans. But for the time being, there are more pressing matters.
Are you going to tell me why we're here?
There. That's why we are here.
Reassure me, we aren't going to have to force that one, are we?
I don't think we're even capable of doing it. You're going to have to find a way to open it.
Why, of course. And what's inside?
Something to vanquish them with?
Perfect. So, how does it open?
We'll need several keys. I found a note from the architect who conceived the mechanism in Mortimer's secret study. We have to first gather 6 objects before we try anything.
Are your 6 objects the keys?
Exactly. We have the Clement III cross, the nails, the Gutenberg Bible, the exegesis of Judas, an armillary sphere, and all we need to match up the dates between the different calendars.
Why a cross?
Well, I haven't the foggiest idea, but it just so happens that's what you are going to use to activate the mechanism. I found the one Mortimer kept. It belonged to Cardinal Guibert, better known by the name of Pope Clement III.
Perfect. Where is it?
Unfortunately, I've lost it. When I lost my hand, I went dashing out, and it must have fallen from my pocket.
Remember, Mother. I'm certain you can remember.
Let me think.
You were running.
I was bleeding to death.
You remember the pain.
I thought I was going to faint. Yes, I remember. I don't think it can be far, can it?
Would you have lost it outside?
No, I don't think so. It must be in the area. I don't remember going up with it.
Perfect. I'll search the crypt before leaving. Some nails?
Don't ask me. I'm not the one who made the mechanism, you know. When I arrived, there were already a few of them inserted, so I didn't have to worry about those. On the other hand, I remember seeing some in Mortimer's secret study, behind his nightmare.
In a golden cup? Yes. Yes, I saw them too.
Perfect. It will be easy for you to find them then. You need 3 of them.
Very well.
You remember what to do about the rollers. 1191 to enter, and 6466 to exit.
Of course. Exegesis. Anything else?
Did you manage to vanquish the Medusa?
To open the chimney? Yes, absolutely.
So you've already come across it. It's the Bible of Judas that is exposed in the secret room behind the chimney.
Why do they call it an exegesis?
Because that's what it is, and not an apocryphal Bible, strictly speaking. It's the study of a text with a summary, not an actual Bible. Anyway, well done for the Gorgon. You did well. You didn't get tricked by the light bouncing back.
Thanks. Do you think I can take it safely?
We haven't got a choice, Louis. Without it, we won't be able to work out this cursed mechanism.
There's one in the portrait gallery.
That's right.
You still believe it's in the tower room, don't you?
I don't know. There is only one way to find out, though.
Right. I shall go and see. There's one in the portrait gallery.
Yes, but it's enormous. If you don't want to have to go back and forth several times, then I suggest you get a smaller one.
What did you do then?
I didn't think I'd need one. I started without one, and I lost my hand before I did need one. And you can see the result.
What do you mean by the concordance of dates exactly?
Don't worry about that. We already have them. They are written on the back of the message I just gave you. One last thing before you go. Be very careful. If you come across anyone, they can all potentially be spies of Mortimer or Holm. Don't ever confide in anyone because a demon can slip inside them at any moment.
Wait, not all of them though. Take Washington.
Especially Washington. He's been conditioned by Mortimer for years. Look at them, for crying out loud. How do you explain their behavior otherwise? The most influential politicians in the Western world gather together without the least protection, without a single aid to assist them. to participate in a conference during which the guests start dropping like flies. Me, Adams, Peru, Hillsborough. Look at the number of calamities that have happened over the past few days. And not one of them has asked to leave the island? Do you find that normal? You'll see. Go up to the manor to look for the keys, and I wager not one of them will speak to you about my being in Emily's room.
Do you think so?
Go on, you'll see. And come back with all the objects in one go. Time is against us. And remember, the code to get out of the secret office is 6646.
Hey, a Russian ruble. I wonder what it'd be worth today. Famous cross of Clement III.
Perfect. And one key found.
Chinese coin. Right. Let's see if the statues are in place yet. shield toward the sword. Now that's good. The statue is already in the right place. That statue is not positioned correctly. The sword toward the Gorgon. That's good. It's in the right place. The lantern is already in the right position, turned toward the shield. That statue is not positioned correctly. That statue is not positioned correctly. The Gorgon always attacks the best protected. That statue is not positioned correctly.
Open sesame.
So that's Pandora's box? An urn? Mother seemed worried that I was able to open it. I wonder why. So that's the exegesis of Judas. I hope Mortimer doesn't read it very often, otherwise he's going to notice that someone's stolen it. But that's just too bad. I need it. A fragment of amber. Given all the relics preserved here, it wouldn't surprise me if Mortimer claimed it was Excalibur, Caesar's laurel wreath. If Mortimer really is what my mother says he is, it could mean... No, that's impossible. No, not Caesar. Right. I've got what I need. Now let's not waste any more time. Right. It's definitely an armillary sphere, but I have to find one that I can take with me. Otherwise, I risk drawing too much attention to my comings and goings. Now, where can I find a smaller one? A pound. Right. This time, it'll be a lot quicker. If I remember rightly, the code was 1191. Of course. Weaknesses of the Human Psyche by Gilhelm Trimor. Gilhelm Trimor. Trimor, an anagram of Mortimer. Wow. Arrogant enough to publish writings on mental control in full view of everyone. I wonder who he's writing for. If Mortimer's plan succeeds, the United States will indeed double in size. It would mean the end of the Spanish presence in North America.
Golden elixir. I'll keep it for later.
The map of Europe. Someone's written 26 million in France. It's the estimated population of France. Mortimer knows very well that France has a higher population than its neighbors. He's preparing for it to go to war and knows he can make it happen by stirring up the people. I'm standing in front of a lesson of absolute mastery in military strategy, which is absolutely spine-chilling if it turns out that Mortimer is a demon. Troops are directed towards Italy. I get the feeling that Piaggi's going to be in for a hard time. It's locked. A hand of tarot cards. The Emperor, a symbol of power and stability. Temperance, which expresses a reward. And the Chariot, now that evokes triumph. If this hand is anything to go by, Mortimer's destiny promises to be glorious. Mortimer's interested in black magic. There! Those are the nails I was looking for. I noticed they were old and rusty, but I hadn't noticed these traces of... Could that be blood? Is it really the relic of the Holy Cross? I can hardly believe it. Who could Mortimer have locked in there? Feathers, pigeons probably. Looks like obsidian or onyx. It must weigh a ton. What on earth could that be? A Van Leeuwenhoek microscope? The most sophisticated microscope there is. All right, come on. Let's get out of here. 6466, if I remember correctly.
Ah, Louis. Glad you're here.
Blasted. He's gonna talk about my mother.
Come and see what I've found. There are pieces of paper in the ashes of the chimney. Someone's been burning something here.
Incredible. He doesn't seem to want to speak to me about what happened between my mother and the Hillsborough sisters.
Show me a little.
Look, it's possible to distinguish two different writing styles.
The rest of the correspondence between my mother and Emma.
Someone tried to burn an exchange of messages. I'm certain. There must be more.
Shit. What on earth is he doing?
If you want my opinion, a servant must have burnt some old papers. That's all.
Why, of course. You very nearly made me think that you were trying to hide something, Louis. No, I'm sure there must be other hidden messages.
He won't let go. He's going to work his way back to the Bible if he continues. Dante's Paradise. Raise your head and be reassured, for what comes up here from the mortal world must ripen in our rays. Oh, the Bible's still there.
Dear Monsieur Peru, I'm writing to thank you for the fun.
I have no space left. I'll retrieve it later.
Great, honey.
Dear friend, please come and join us.
My dearest son, I'm writing to implore you to act quickly.
It's a beautiful weapon. A lovely damask blade. It's marked with the initials of the manufacturer in Versailles. Carmelite water. They say that if you drink this, it gives you a real boost. A bicorn decorated with a cockade. It must belong to a French soldier. A letter from William Pitt the Younger, addressed to Emily. He's the present Prime Minister. Two coils circle the lock.
Dear Gregory, thank you for the information. I've managed to find out about the names you gave me. George Washington is a man you can trust. In spite of his obvious talent for politics, he has remained upright and honest. On the other hand, as you may well know, he is already doing business with Lord Mortimer. It will be more difficult to approach him. Napoleon Bonaparte was unknown to me until today. He's a passionate young French soldier for whom Mortimer predicts a promising future. Take heed. He is a man of conviction, which to my mind makes him potentially dangerous. As for Sarah de Richet, what more is there to say? You already know each other. She was apparently invited by Lord Mortimer about an ongoing matter in Paris that concerns a receiver in stolen art. See you soon. Duchess Emily Hillsborough.
I have no space left. I'll retrieve it later. A letter from William Pitt the Elder, addressed to Emily. He was the English Prime Minister. This letter dates from 15 years ago now. Madam, I shall never thank you enough for all your... Don Quixote. Talking without thinking is like shooting with
Honey, the remedy of the gods.
Monsieur Johann van Volnau. An armillary sphere. Perfect. That will save me some time. I only hope that he isn't going to realize it right away. A chest locked with a 4-letter code. Surely a word close to the owner's heart.
So, good. You've managed to gather all the keys.
Yes, that's right. I have everything. What should I start with?
Place the Clement III cross on the console. Then you have to put the nails on the disc of the door.
What hole should I put the nails in?
Well, I can't really advise you there, because I haven't exactly made the best choices myself. All I can say is that you have to insert 1 to choose a town, 1 to choose a chapter, and 1 to choose a verse. Those are Roman numerals on the disc.
What theme did you start with?
As the fresco shows the birth of Christ, I placed 1 nail in Bethlehem, 1 in chapter 2, and 1 in verse 6. The iris opened a little. I thought it was normal. Behind the aperture of the iris, there is a duct in which I put my hand. I felt something like a valve at the bottom. I thought by turning it the door would open, or the iris would open completely, or something else would happen. Instead, I felt something like an axe cut off my hand. I really thought it was the end of me.
What did you do then?
Well, although I had made some unfortunate choices, I was lucky in that Mortimer was well stocked with drugs. I raided his supplies of medicine.
All right, my turn now.
Go ahead, impress me. I'll shut up and let you concentrate.
The cycle of the moons has nothing to do with what I'm doing right now. The cross is stuck in the mechanism. I can't do anything. This exegesis contains comments from Judas on the different Gospels. It only contains certain chapters and verses, and the chapters are indicated by Roman numerals. The lexicon refers to different chapters and verses from the exegesis of Judas. The fresco clearly shows the birth of Christ.
Louis, I can assure you that that is not the solution to this enigma. This fresco's only purpose is to mislead. I know that now. Please, focus on another theme about Christ.
I'll have to trust her. You could see that the paint has come off in parts. Difficult to see what was there, but I can distinguish the letters N-R-I. Nothing more. Why, of course. They're part of the initials I-N-R-I that you can find on the cross of Jesus at his crucifixion. Why, of course. I-N-R-I. Jesus Nazarenus Rex Eudorum. These initials stand for Jesus the Nazarene, King of the Jews. This is the inscription which appears on the cross at the crucifixion of Jesus. Yes, it's definitely a representation of the birth of Christ, but some of the details have flaked away. I can't see any other clues. One thing is for sure, this enigma deals with the life of Jesus, like my mother said. It looks like there are 3 types of inscriptions. These towns have one thing in common. They're all related to the life and death of Jesus. For example, Jordan is the place of the baptism of Christ. Clearly, we have names of towns, Arabian numerals, and Roman numerals. There are 3 styles of writing, and I've got 3 nails. There must be a link. I must surely put in 1 nail per category. Chapter 19, verse 17. Jesus was crucified on the 8th of Nisan, 3793, in a place near Jerusalem. The Romans put a crown of thorns on his head. Chapter 19, verse 17. And he, bearing his cross, went forth into a place called the place of a skull, which is called in the Hebrew Golgotha, where they crucified him, and 2 others with him, on either side, and Jesus in the midst. It works.
Well done, Louis. I hadn't seen those other wheels. Try connecting the theme to see if it goes all the way.
There must surely be a connection between the wheels. This wheel represents the different moons. In the occult sciences, we represent the full moon by an X As for the dark moon, called the new moon, in cults, it's often associated with something harmful. Look at this. There are notches between each of the wheels. So, I have to link the name of the town from the theme I've chosen to an icon, then to a date, and finally, the date to the moon. There are different icons on this wheel, but it looks like some of them can't be connected to the other wheels.
Mother, what do you think?
As I told you, I didn't get that far. Nevertheless, these icons do represent moments in the life of Christ.
I think I can make out each one of the icons apart from the one covered in blood. Going clockwise from the one I just mentioned, we have the halo that represents the resurrection. The waves represent the baptism of Jesus. It's more difficult to identify the next one. Maybe a crib, and in that case it's surely linked to the birth of Christ. The red herring that my mother followed. Then, the symbol represents the crown of thorns that Jesus wore during his crucifixion. The dove also represents the baptism. Certainly another red herring. Then comes the symbol of the Trinity. And finally, the candle that must stand for the Last Supper. Now, given the difference between the number of icons and the number of towns, I think that only one path connects all the wheels with one another. Let's try to connect the theme I've chosen with the rest. This wheel contains several symbols made up of one or two figures and one letter. The highest figure does not exceed 31, and each letter corresponds to a month of the year. A for April, and M for March. I think these symbols must represent a specific date. I think I can make out each one of the icons apart from the one covered in blood. Going clockwise from the one I just mentioned, we have the halo that represents the resurrection. The waves represent the baptism of Jesus. It's more difficult to identify the next one. Maybe a crib, and in that case it's surely linked to the birth of Christ. The red herring that my mother followed. Then, the symbol represents the crown of thorns that Jesus wore during his crucifixion. The dove also represents the baptism. Certainly another red herring. Then comes the symbol of the Trinity. And finally, the candle that must stand for the Last Supper. Now, given the difference between the number of icons and the number of towns, I think that only one path connects all the wheels with one another. Let's try to connect the theme I've chosen with the rest. The totally black moon corresponds to the new moon. So, going clockwise, we have the waning crescent, the last quarter, the waning gibbous, the full moon, the waxing gibbous, the first quarter, and lastly, the waxing crescent. In the occult sciences, we represent the full moon by an X. As for the dark moon, called the new moon, in cults, it's often associated with something harmful. Look at this. There are notches between each of the wheels. So, I have to link the name of the town from the theme I've chosen to an icon, then to a date, and finally, the date to the moon. This wheel contains several symbols made up of 1 or 2 figures and 1 letter. The highest figure does not exceed 31, and each letter corresponds to a month of the year. A for April, and M for March. I think these symbols must represent a specific date. Let's see what combination corresponds to the chosen theme. To follow the crucifixion theme, I should select the crown of thorns. Sixth of Rajab, 611, waxing crescent. The moon's shadow moves from west to east. During new moon, the moon is entirely in the shadow. Then, the shadow moves from west to east, meaning left to right, and goes through the following states: waxing crescents, first quarter, waxing gibbous, full moon, waning gibbous, last quarter, waning crescent, and the cycle starts over with the full shadowed new moon.
I can feel the lever at the bottom.
Good luck.